Have you ever stood at the edge of yourself? At that place where everything you've known begins to fall apart, and you realize you're not who you thought you were? That moment feels like death. But it's not death. It's awakening. And it begins with pain. Let me tell you a story. There was once a man who had everything: money, success, a beautiful family, a house with polished floors, and walls filled with degrees. But he would wake up in the middle of the night, suffocating, heart pounding, eyes wide open. Something was wrong. He couldn't explain it. He tried pills. He tried therapy. He tried working more. But nothing made it go away. Until one day his daughter looked up at him and said, "Daddy, why are you always angry?" And something shattered inside him. Because he wasn't angry, he was lost. He was afraid. And for the first time in his life, he realized he didn't know who he was. That man was me. And that was the day I began the journey of coming to consciousness. Carl Jung once said, "There is no coming to consciousness without pain." What does that mean? It means waking up is not easy. It means you can't grow without discomfort. You can't evolve without breaking. You can't truly know yourself without walking through the fire. We are born into a world that teaches us to hide. Hide your feelings. Hide your fear. Hide your truth. Be strong, be perfect. Be like everyone else. And we do it. We build masks. We build walls. We build a version of ourselves we think will be accepted. But then one day something cracks. Maybe it's a breakup. Maybe it's a death. Maybe it's failure, betrayal, or simply a feeling that you can't shake. And suddenly everything you've used to define yourself no longer fits. You feel exposed. You feel empty. You feel pain. And that's when the real journey begins. Because pain isn't punishment. Pain is a messenger. Pain is the body's way of telling you, wake up. Your soul's way of saying, come home. But we run from pain, don't we? We numb it, avoid it, distract ourselves. We scroll, we drink, we chase thrills. Because feeling is hard, and the truth is terrifying. But here's the secret. Everything you want lies on the other side of that pain. Your purpose, your peace, your power. It's buried beneath everything you're afraid to face. And when you finally stop running, when you finally sit in the silence, when you finally look yourself in the mirror and say, I want to know who I really am, that's the beginning of transformation. But it's not glamorous. It's not Instagram quotes and yoga poses. It's crying on the floor at 2 a.m. It's shaking in therapy. It's confronting your childhood wounds. It's grieving the person you used to be. And through it all, you begin to see. You begin to see the lies you believe. You begin to see how much you were carrying that wasn't yours. You begin to see the patterns, the projections, the masks. And in that seeing, you begin to free yourself. That's what consciousness is. It's not perfection. It's awareness. It's being awake to your thoughts, your patterns, your wounds, your worth. It's making the unconscious conscious. And that process hurts. But it heals you. It strips away the noise. It silences the lies. It reveals the truth beneath all the layers. And that truth is beautiful. You're not broken. You are not weak. You are not lost. You are becoming. You are waking up. And it's messy. It's hard. But it's worth it. Because once you wake up, you can't go back. You see the world differently. You feel differently. You love differently. You become more real, more alive, more you. But let's go deeper. There's another truth Jung taught. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Think about that. The fears you don't face, they guide your decisions. The wounds you never healed, they shape your relationships. The beliefs you absorbed as a child, they become your invisible prison. We often walk through life thinking we're choosing, but most of us are sleepwalking, operating on autopilot, responding out of programming we never even chose. And then we wonder why we feel empty, why life feels repetitive, why we keep attracting the same pain, the same failures, the same heartbreaks. It's because our unconscious is running the show. Coming to consciousness is not just about awareness, it's about liberation. You liberate yourself from your past, from your conditioning, from your illusions. But first, you have to go inward. You have to sit in silence. You have to listen to the voice beneath the noise. You have to become curious about your pain. Why did that comment hurt me so much? Why do I always feel like I'm not enough? Why do I sabotage what I love? These aren't easy questions. They're heavy, but they're necessary. Because the answers reveal the map of your soul. And slowly, gently, you begin to uncover the parts of you that were buried. The inner child who never felt safe. The teenager who had to hide their true self. The adult who settled for less because they forgot their worth. Healing begins here. Not by fixing, but by feeling. Not by running, but by returning. Returning to yourself. To your truth. To your wholeness. And it hurts. God, it hurts. But it's the kind of pain that purifies. It burns away the lies. It strips the masks. It exposes the raw beauty of your being. And in that rawness, you are reborn. Not as someone new, but as who you were always meant to be. This is not just personal. This is universal. Because a conscious individual can change a family. A conscious family can change a community. A conscious community can change the world. Imagine a world where people are not running from their pain, but honoring it. Where men can cry. Where women can rage. Where children are taught to feel instead of suppress. That's the world Jung envisioned. Not a perfect world, but a conscious one. And it starts with you. Right here. Right now. You don't need to do everything. You just need to do your work. You need to look within. To ask the hard questions. To choose honesty over ease. To choose courage over comfort. And every time you do that, you shift something in the collective. You become a light in the dark. A mirror for others. A reminder that healing is possible. You become proof that pain can lead to power. That wounds can become wisdom. That darkness can give birth to dawn. So keep going. Feel it all. Face it all. Love yourself through it all. You are not broken. You are breaking open. This is consciousness. This is life. This is freedom. And it all begins with pain. Let the journey begin. Now let's pause for a moment. Breathe. Not a shallow breath. Take a deep one. In through your nose. Hold. Out through your mouth. That breath. That's life. That's presence. That's consciousness. You see, coming to consciousness isn't just about philosophical ideas or dramatic changes. It's about the small moments, too. The moments when you pause instead of react. When you listen instead of defend. When you notice instead of ignore. That's awareness. That's growth. And that awareness accumulates. It builds something within you. a calm, a strength, a center that doesn't shake with every storm, but it starts with pain. Yes, it hurts to become conscious. It hurts to unlearn. It hurts to let go. But what's the alternative? Living asleep? Living in a lie? You weren't born to survive. You were born to awaken. Born to create. To feel. To connect. To express. And to do that, you must come home to yourself. Pain clears the path. Just like a forest fire clears dead wood. Just like heartbreak clears illusions. Just like loss reveals what truly matters. So if you're walking through pain right now, hold your head high. You're not lost. You're becoming. You're not breaking. You're opening. This is sacred work. Soul work. And as difficult as it is, you are not alone. There's a quiet revolution happening. A shift, a rising. More and more people are waking up. Saying no to numbness. Saying yes to truth. Peeling back the layers. Finding their voice. Reclaiming their power. And every time one person does the work, it creates a ripple of healing, of clarity, of light. You are that ripple. Your journey matters. Your courage matters. Your truth matters. So trust this process, even when it's messy, especially when it's messy, because that's where real life is. Not in the filtered highlight reels, but in the raw, unfiltered moments of honesty. When you cry on the floor and still choose to get up. When you face your past and choose to forgive. When you walk away from what's safe and choose what's true. That's power. That's growth. That's consciousness. And no one can take that from you. So take one more breath. And say this with me. I am not my pain, but I honor it. I am not my past, but I've learned from it. I am not broken. I am awakening. This is not the end. This is the beginning. The beginning of a new chapter. A new lens. A new life. One where you feel deeply. Live authentically. Love bravely. One where pain is not your enemy, but your ally. Because now you see it clearly. There is no coming to consciousness without pain. But with that pain comes truth. With that pain comes peace. With that pain comes you. Welcome home.